when you hear dealer incentives, all right, you take kind of a different method or different kind of, I guess, approach. How do you guys approach the dealer incentive world?
Yeah, so first off, I immediately think that the term dealer incentive is misaligned. It's really a consumer incentive.
Oh, okay, I like that. That's a good
Right?
point.
Yeah, and then if you think about, often those incentives lie at the bottom of the sales funnel.
Yes.
They're incentives for the purchase, not for the discovery. Well, a consumer has to discover your inventory. They have to understand that inventory matches their needs. They have to know that that car is going to satisfy, the investment. They're going to get, it's the right investment in the right car. And so a lot of times the consumer discovers the $25 gift card for a test drive when they pick the car that they want to test drive
Yep.
in, versus earning incentives as they've gone through the sales process to get there. Now, the cool thing was, with the one-to-one internet, we can start to align incentives on a one-to-one basis, based upon that consumer's behavior and based upon their trade even. So maybe, there's a different incentive if they've got a particular trade, et cetera. And so we can sort of distill this. Instead of all the incentive lying at the end of the sales process, move those incentives up the sales funnel, so that I'm encouraging a consumer to discover my vehicle in the first place. I'm encouraging a consumer to get pre-qualified on that car. I'm incentivizing a consumer to take actions that increase the probability they're going to want to test drive this car, not just reward them when they come to that decision themselves, rather than sort of, as a dealer, we're sort of passively waiting at the bottom of the funnel. Move the incentives up funnel. The analogy I use is, I'm sure we've all seen that scene, and maybe we've lived out this scene in our lives, where we're going to have a romantic evening, and we've got the candles and the rose petals, and imagine if all those rose petals were only in the bedroom, right? But what happens, of course, they line them up from the door. Why? Is they want them to follow a path that leads to this romantic evening, right? If there were no rose petals in the rest of the house, they could wander around the house for hours before they discover the incentive, that awaits them. And that's essentially kind of what we're doing with a lot of the dealer incentives, is we're letting the consumer wander about the internet, wander through the sales funnel, through the process of discovery and qualifying, and then telling them, I'm so glad you got here. By the way, here's an extra, incentive for you. When we really should be creating sort of a gamification environment where we're creating incentives along the path to purchase, so that they stay on it and move more quickly through it, and incentivize them to discover the kinds of content that are useful to them in deciding what car they want to have.